This video will talk about geometric series, and in particular, it will illustrate how to solve problems involving finite geometric series and infinite geometric series. Bago tayo mag-solve ng problems involving geometric series, kailangan muna nating malaman ng pagkakaiba ng finite sequence at infinite sequence. In finite sequence, it has a stopping point. However, in infinite sequence, it has no stopping point. There is a given limit on the number of terms in a finite sequence. Sa infinite sequence naman, there is no given limit on the number of terms. Sa finite sequence ay mayroong last term. Pero sa infinite sequence, the sequence goes on forever. Para mas maintindihan pa natin ang pagkakaiba ng finite sa infinite sequence, ito ang mga examples. Unang example sa finite sequence is 1, 3, 9, 27, 81, until the 18th term. Next example is until the 20th term of the sequence, -100, 50, -25, 12.5, and last one, first 15 terms of the sequence, -2, 10, -50, 250. Kung mapapansin ninyo, sa finite sequence, nagbigay siya ng limit kung ilan ang number of terms. Sa unang sequence is until the age of 18. Sa second example is until the 20th term. And sa last example, we are dealing with the first 15 terms of the sequence. On the other hand, these are some of the examples of infinite sequence: 90, 60, 40, and so on, -100, 50, -25, 12.5, and so on, 100, 10, 1, and so on. Kung mapapansin ninyo, walang ibinigay na specific na value ng last term ang mga sequences na to. Ito ay dahil sa 3 dots na makikita sa hulihan ng mga sequences. Ang tawag sa mga 3 dots na yan ay ellipses, na ang ibig sabihin ay it never ends or it goes on forever. Yan ang pagkakaiba ng finite sequence at infinite sequence. Now let's talk about geometric series. A geometric series as defined is the sum of the terms of the geometric sequence. Since magkaiba ang finite geometric sequence at infinite geometric sequence, magkaiba rin dapat ang formula or rule na gagamitin para makuha ang sum of their respective terms. Sa finite geometric series, we can use the formula S sub n is equal to a sub 1 multiplied to the quantity of 1 minus r raised to n over 1 minus r. On the other hand, the formula that we need to use for infinite geometric series is S sub infinity is equal to a sub 1 over 1 minus r. However, we need to take note that in using the infinite geometric series formula, the value of the common ratio r should only be between -1 and 1, or the absolute value of the common ratio r should be less than 1. Let us solve two problems involving geometric series. First problem, what is the sum of the first 12 terms of the geometric sequence with the first 4 terms 2, 6, 18, 54? To solve this problem, we need to determine first if this given sequence is a finite or infinite sequence. Since nakasaad sa problem na kailangan natin kunin ang sum ng first 12 terms, that means this is a problem involving finite geometric series. And we will use the formula for finite geometric series, which is S sub n is equal to a sub 1 multiplied to the quantity of 1 minus r raised to n over 1 minus r. In this rule or formula, S sub n is the partial sum, n is the number of terms, a sub 1 is the first term, and r is the common ratio. To get the partial sum of the given sequence or the S sub n, we need to get first the values of n, a sub 1, and r. The value of n is the number of terms in the given sequence, which is equal to 12. A sub 1 is the first term of the given sequence at nakasaad sa sequence na ang first term ay 2. And in finding the common ratio r, we need to get 2 consecutive terms and find their ratio, in which in the sequence r is equal to 3. We are now complete with the necessary details, so we can now solve the problem. Using the rule, S sub n is equal to a sub 1 multiplied to the quantity of 1 minus r raised to n over 1 minus r, and substituting the obtained necessary details, we can have S sub 12 is equal to 2 times the quantity 1 minus 3 raised to 12 over 1 minus 3. A scientific calculator can be used para sa mas mabilis sa pag-calculate or pag-compute. Gamit ang calculator, I-enter lamang ang mga values katulad ng nasa screen. Sundan lamang ang pagkasunod-sunod nito. And upon clicking equals, the answer will be 531,440. The sum of the first 12 terms of the given geometric sequence is 531,440. Let's have problem number 2. What is the sum of the infinite geometric sequence with the first 4 terms, negative 135, 90, negative 60, 40? First step in solving this problem is to determine if the given sequence is finite or infinite sequence. Since nakasaad sa problem na kailangan natin kunin ang sum of the given infinite geometric sequence, that means this is an example of a problem involving infinite geometric series. That is why we need to use the formula for infinite geometric series, which is S sub infinity is equal to A sub 1 over 1 minus R. In this formula, S sub infinity is the sum to infinity. A sub 1 is the first term and R is the common ratio. In using the infinite geometric series formula, we need to remember that the value of the common ratio R must be greater than negative 1 but lesser than positive 1, or the absolute value of the common ratio must be lesser than 1. Since we are solving for the sum of the terms of this infinite geometric sequence, we need to find first the values of A sub 1 and the common ratio. A sub 1 is the first term, which is negative 135. And for the value of R, take 2 consecutive terms and find their ratio, in which in this case, the common ratio is negative 2/3. At ang tanong ngayon, is negative 2/3 a qualified value for us to use the infinite geometric series formula? Na kung saan, the absolute value of the common ratio should be lesser than 1? And upon checking, the absolute value of negative 2/3 is indeed lesser than positive 1. R is equal to negative 2/3 in this particular geometric sequence. Since kompleto na tayo sa necessary details, we can now solve the problem. Using the rule S sub infinity is equal to A sub 1 over 1 minus R, and substituting the obtained details, we can have S sub infinity is equal to negative 135 over 1 minus negative 2/3. We can use a scientific calculator in simplifying the equation, in which the answer will be negative 81. Or we can compute this manually by simplifying the given equation. We can have S sub infinity is equal to negative 135 over 5/3 and simplified further as negative 81. So the sum to infinity of the geometric sequence with the first 4 terms, negative 135, 90, negative 60, 40 is negative 81. These 2 examples are illustrations of the steps of solving problems involving finite geometric series and infinite geometric series. Sana ay may natutunan kayo. O kayo naman, kayang-kaya nyo to.